He's really good in the last pass, in this millimeter, the right pass to the right foot in the right moment. And that's why he's so special, and he's a key player.
In a football world obsessed with flashy skills and social media highlights, one player dismantles entire teams like it's just a training session. At just 22 years old, Florian Wirtz has already amassed 71 goals and 71 assists, 142 goal involvements before most players even sign their first contract. But here's what makes his story truly remarkable. He nearly lost it all. A torn ACL, 450 days of injuries, a career almost vanished before it truly began. Born in Pulheim, Germany in 2003, Florian Wirtz's journey was shaped by football from his earliest days. Unlike many prodigies discovered by chance, Wirtz was practically engineered for the sport. His father, Hans Joachim, ran a football academy, while his sister, Julianne, made it to the Women's Professional League. This wasn't just a football family, it was a football factory. From the moment young Florian kicked the ball, he displayed an uncanny understanding of the game. At age 7, he accomplished something extraordinary, scoring over 100 goals in a single season. But it wasn't just the numbers that made coaches take notice. It was his composure, his decision-making, the way he played as if time moved slower for him than everyone else. By age 10, Wirtz was regularly playing against boys 2 or 3 years older, yet still dominating matches with his technical ability and football intelligence. FC Köln actually recognized his potential and brought him into their academy system. Their director remarked, he had the body of a child, but the football brain of a veteran. His progression through Köln's young ranks was meteoric. By 14, he was playing in the U17s. By 15, he had advanced to the U19s. He wasn't just keeping pace. He was dictating games, bending matches to his will with a maturity that belied his years. Though born and raised in Germany, Wirtz's playing style carried distinctly Spanish influences. He studied the movements of Xavi, Iniesta, and David Silva, absorbing their technical precision and spatial awareness. By early 2020, Wirtz had become one of Germany's most coveted young talents. Leverkusen, Bayern, and Dortmund all tracked his development closely. Then, in a controversial move that outraged Köln supporters, Bayer Leverkusen swooped in to sign the 16-year-old prodigy. Leverkusen didn't just acquire prospects for the future, they had immediate plans for him. In May 2020, at just 17 years and 15 days old, Wirtz made his professional debut, becoming the youngest player in Leverkusen's history. The football world barely had time to learn his name before he announced himself on the biggest stage. Just weeks after his debut, Wirtz faced the mighty Bayern Munich and their world-class goalkeeper, Manuel Neuer. With confidence that defied his inexperience, he curled a perfect shot past one of football's greatest goalkeepers, breaking Kai Havertz's record as Leverkusen's youngest ever goalscorer. This wasn't just a momentary flash of brilliance. Wirtz quickly established himself as a regular in Leverkusen's first team, displaying a level of consistency rarely seen in teenagers. By 18, he was already rewriting Bundesliga records. By 19, he had contributed to 50 goals through scoring and assisting. Europe's elite clubs took notice. Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Barcelona all made inquiries. But unlike many young talents who chased the spotlight and big money moves, Wirtz showed remarkable maturity. He prioritized development, minutes, and purpose over fame and fortune, choosing to stay at Leverkusen where his growth was the priority. His first full season yielded 8 goals and 8 assists, along with countless match-winning moments. Fans nicknamed him the Ghost because he would appear everywhere on the pitch and disappear just as quickly, leaving defenders grasping at shadows. By age 20, Wirtz looked unstoppable, a generational talent on an inevitable path to superstardom. Then, in an instant, everything changed. March 13th, 2022. A local derby between Leverkusen and Köln. The stadium packed with passionate fans. Wirtz was in his element, gliding past defenders with a signature elegance. And then, disaster struck. A mistimed challenge, a sickening twist, a scream of pain that silenced the stadium. No theatrical rolling, no exaggerated gestures, just the raw agony.
When their super talented 18-year-old and Germany international Florian Wirtz came out of a clash with Luca Killian with a nasty looking knee injury and had to be taken to hospital immediately.
Of a young player who knew immediately that something was seriously wrong. The diagnosis confirmed everyone's worst fears. A torn anterior cruciate ligament. In a single moment, Wirtz's meteoric rise came to a devastating halt. His World Cup dream with Germany, gone. His breakthrough season, abruptly ended. What followed wasn't a social media documentary or a PR campaign tracking his recovery. It was silence, absence. The young star disappeared from public view, retreating into the grueling, unglamorous work of rehabilitation. Behind closed doors, Wirtz faced the greatest challenge of his young career, relearning how to run, rebuilding strength, studying match footage. He would later admit, it was the hardest thing I have ever faced. The injury threatened more than just his physical capabilities. It jeopardized the very qualities that made him special. His rhythm, his instincts, his confidence. Would he still glide across the pitch with the same effortless grace? Could he still see the game 5 steps ahead of everyone else? Even Leverkusen harbored doubts, signing potential replacements during his absence. Fans lowered their expectations. Germany crashed out of the 2022 World Cup without their creative spark, began to wonder, would Florian Wirtz ever return to his best? And if he did, would he still be the same player? But while the football world speculated, Wirtz was transforming. He wasn't just recovering, he was evolving, using his time away from the pitch to analyze the game more deeply than ever before. In January 2023, 10 months after the devastating injury, Wirtz made his return. He wasn't faster or flashier than before. He was something more valuable, smarter, more measured, more mature. Wirtz's returning coincided with a new chapter at Bayer Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso, a legendary midfielder turned novice manager, had just taken charge of a struggling team. When asked how to fix Leverkusen's midfield problems, Alonso's response was simple but telling. Everyone told me, just wait for Florian. The wait proved worthwhile. When Wirtz finally stepped back onto the pitch, Alonso didn't just see a player recovering from injury, he saw the cornerstone upon which he could build something extraordinary. Alonso completely restructured Leverkusen around Wirtz's unique abilities. A bold back three, a ruthless midfield diamond. Every attacking move flowed through the young German, who was given the freedom to roam, create, and destroy opposition defenses. Wirtz rewarded this faith by elevating his game to unprecedented heights. In the Bundesliga, he ranked in the top 10% in an astonishing array of metrics: assists, big chances created, dribbles, non-penalty expected goals, passes into the box, key passes, shots, through passes, and expected assists. But these numbers only tell part of the story. When we compare Wirtz to every elite attacking midfielder in Europe's top leagues, he exists in statistical territory entirely of his own. As you can see, Wirtz doesn't just lead the pack, he redefines what's possible, combining elite goal contributions with unmatched ball progression. While players like Palmer, Musiala, and De Bruyne excel in one dimension, Wirtz dominates, both creating a statistical profile that simply shouldn't exist in modern football. He wasn't just contributing in one dimension, he was excelling in every facet of attacking play. Defenses that tried to press Leverkusen found themselves ripped apart by Wirtz's quick thinking and technical precision. Teams that sat deep watched helplessly as he found gaps no one else could even see. Alonso called him unpredictable. Teammates described him as untouchable. Opponents simply called him a nightmare. Even when double-marked, Wirtz found solutions. Little flicks, disguised passes, or slow methodical dribbles that made defenders commit to shadows. Behind his calm expression burned an intense competitive fire. Wirtz doesn't shout or showboat, but when he plays, he controls the emotional rhythm of the entire match. The Europa League semi-final perfectly illustrated his influence. In a tense game with pressure mounting, Wirtz collected the ball at the halfway line and within 7 seconds had created a goal. No unnecessary tricks, no chaotic movements, just timing, precision, and genius. Perhaps most remarkably, this new version of Wirtz was still not at full physical capacity. The ACL injury hadn't just taken away some of his pace, it had forced him to rethink his entire approach to the game. He became more efficient, more calculated, and ultimately more dangerous.
He's brilliant. He really is. I mean, if you look at his consistency, it's been very, very impressive because he was Bundesliga player of the season last season. Leverkusen got an unbeaten league and cup double. First team to ever do that in German football history.
Post-injury Wirtz doesn't waste a single movement. Every press is targeted, every pass is loaded with purpose, every dribble is intentional. He plays like someone who understands how quickly it can all disappear, with an appreciation for the game that most players don't develop until the twilight of their careers. That's why no midfielder in Europe created more expected goals from open play in 2024. That's why his defensive statistics surpassed expectations. He wasn't just playing beautiful football, he was working harder than ever before. Wirtz doesn't just make the game look easy, he does the difficult things that casual viewers don't notice. And quietly, methodically, he established himself as the most complete midfielder of his generation. The 2023-24 season wasn't just a comeback story, it was a masterpiece, a campaign that would cement Wirtz's place in football history. Under Alonso's guidance, Leverkusen achieved what many thought impossible, an unbeaten domestic campaign, the first in Bundesliga history. Not Bayern Munich with their financial might, not Borussia Dortmund with their passionate support. Bayer Leverkusen, a club that had never won a league title in its 120-year history. And Wirtz wasn't just part of this historic achievement. He was its driving force, the playmaker, the presser, the glue that held everything together. With 23 assists and 18 goals, he contributed directly to over 40 goals across all competitions. Against Bayern Munich, the perennial champions, he danced through their world-class midfield as if it were a youth match. Against RB Leipzig, he delivered a hat-trick while maintaining 100% passing accuracy, a statistical anomaly that perfectly captured his blend of creativity and precision. And in the final game of the season, with history on the line and the pressure at its peak, Wirtz delivered again. Cold, clinical, composed. Leverkusen secured the Bundesliga title and added the DFB Pokal German Cup for good measure. They reached the Europa League final too, and though they fell at the last hurdle, Wirtz was named Player of the Season, recognition of his extraordinary influence on one of football's greatest underdog stories. What makes Wirtz truly special isn't just his technical ability or his statistical output. It's his approach to the game. He isn't trying to go viral. He isn't chasing individual awards or building a personal brand. He's simply playing intelligent, effective football and making it look routine. At just 22 years old, he's already displaying a tactical understanding that even the greatest players often don't develop until their late 20s. Not because he possesses more natural talent, but because he thinks about the game more deeply, seeing patterns and possibilities that others miss. Wirtz's influence extends beyond club football. By the time Euro 2024 arrived, he established himself as an indispensable figure for the German national team. Alongside Jamal Musiala, he formed a creative partnership that promised to restore Germany's status as a footballing superpower. When Wirtz stepped onto the international stage again after missing the World Cup, it was as if he had never left. Game after game, he displayed the press resistance, creativity, and goal threat that had made him a star at club level. Germany looked balanced again, functional again, alive again.
He takes a lot of shots, creates a lot of chances, it's like his ball. It's like that kid in the schoolyard who,
we've all played with them.
Exactly, yeah.
Though Euro 2024 didn't end with the trophy Germany desired, it confirmed Wirtz as the future of German football.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable intelligent player to understand spaces between the lines, creating chances, an advanced playmaker.
A player around whom the national team could build for the next decade. Back at Leverkusen, the pressure only intensified. Having made history, they were no longer underdogs, but targets. Every opponent wanted to be the one to end their unbeaten run. Every stadium felt hostile. The margin for errors disappeared entirely. Yet through the noise and pressure, one player remained unflappable: Wirtz. No longer just a kid with the magic touch. He had become the captain without the armband, the player Alonso built his legacy around. In the Champions League, football's most demanding competition, Wirtz proved he belonged among the elite. 9 appearances, 6 goals, a brace against Feyenoord, a masterclass at San Siro, a solo goal in Salzburg executed with such calm precision. It seemed scripted. Even in the DFL Super Cup with silverware on the line, he stepped up to take the winning penalty with the composure of a veteran. No panic, no drama, just execution. Across Europe, only one player under 23 recorded more goal involvements than Wirtz's 44. Not Bukayo Saka, not Jude Bellingham, not even Michael Olise. The quiet kid from Pulheim had become one of football's most productive attacking forces. As Leverkusen's star rose, so did the speculation about Wirtz's future. Liverpool reportedly prepared to offer 150 million euros. Real Madrid circled with interest. Bayern Munich made repeated approaches. Manchester City viewed him as the perfect successor to Kevin De Bruyne. Yet what remains most impressive about Wirtz isn't what he does on the pitch. It's what he doesn't do off it. In an era of carefully curated social media presences and personal brand building, he simply smiles and plays. Ask his teammates, and they'll say the same thing. He makes us better. Ask his coaches, and they'll tell you. He's 2 years ahead of schedule. Ask his opponents, and they'll just shake their heads and say, "We couldn't get near him." That's what true greatness looks like. Not just statistics, not just trophies, but control, composure, clarity of purpose. Florian Wirtz doesn't chase the game. The game bends to him. He represents a new blueprint for the modern playmaker. Press-resistant, multifunctional, impossible to read, and effective on both sides of the ball. He's not a throwback to past legends. He's not the next Xavi or the next Özil. He's the first Wirtz, a unique talent who combines technical brilliance with tactical intelligence in a package that feels both timeless and thoroughly modern. From torn ligaments to torn defenses, from silence to symphonies, from the kid with promise to the maestro with magic in his boots. This is Florian Wirtz. Not loud, not flashy, just better than everyone else. And whether he stays at Leverkusen or eventually answers the call from one of Europe's traditional powerhouses, one thing is certain. We are witnessing the early chapters of what promises to be one of football's most compelling stories. If you enjoyed this story of football's silent genius, check out our documentary on Desiree Doué, another young star who reminds us why we love football. And comment below with the player you want us to cover next.